Hey folks, welcome back. Oh, we're having a lot of fun today. So we've got this 97 Explorer in here. I just installed a used transmission into it. I don't like doing these kind of jobs because a lot of times you end up with problems with the transmission you put in there rather than just going with a actual rebuilt transmission. But you know, I understand when people are on a budget, they're on a budget. I try to do the best I can. This one we had some shifting issues, and we found out the neutral safety switch and all that stuff's not functioning properly. And then while doing that, I was an idiot, and when replacing that neutral safety switch, this is the other transmission, getting this nut off of here, I thought it was going to break loose, but it didn't, and I ended up breaking this piece inside the transmission. So I'm going to bring you along, trying to figure out, because we're going to try to get this piece in here. There's a rod that goes back to the parking pawl that's in the back of the tail shaft housing, and I'm going to attempt to see if I can get this, this is the part I broke right here. I'll show it to you later on. Actually, here's part of it right here. It pretty much just snapped in two right where that goes around the shaft. So yeah, I'm an idiot. I make mistakes all as well, even running my own shop and stuff like that. Just is what it is. And also put out this video to make sure that if you are replacing something like the neutral safety switch right here, that it does more than just neutral safety switch. It tells the computer, all the which position your shift lever is in. Be super careful trying to get this nut off of here. This one came off really well, and I was going to pull that switch off and put it on the other transmission, the one that's in the car, but that didn't work out. Made a relatively easy job into a really hard job. And so I'm bringing you along because there's a nut on the inside of here that I've removed, hoping that this would come out, but it doesn't. We're gonna have to pull this valve body off and see if we can get this out of here. Because what I'm gonna attempt to do is I'm gonna pull this part out of this transmission, and then I'm gonna go ahead and try to reinstall it here, hoping that I can get it all lined up into the parking pawl so that I can do this in the transmission that's in the car while it's still in. And if I can do that, then I'll show you how to do it. And so the first thing we're gonna do is gonna get this valve body off of here. We gotta get all these electrical connectors off of here to get them out of the way. They just kind of pull. Oh, come on, they just kind of pull out like so. And then we'll just kind of like roll them out of the way. So that's what we need to do first. And then we'll get all these bolts off of here. I'm not going to film all that because it's all just removing stuff, but that's pretty much what you got to do in order to remove this valve body. And that should gain access, because right now this steel right here is hitting on the valve body and not allowing this thing to clear the shaft. And I don't know how this shaft comes out of here. I'm not a transmission expert. I don't rebuild them or do any of that kind of stuff because I'm not knowledgeable enough to do that. But I am not a lot knowledgeable on just, regular mechanics, and this is all just mechanical stuff. So should be able to get it figured out one way or another. Just trying to avoid having to pull that transmission back out just to fix this, but we'll see if we can get her done. So keep watching, and we'll get this valve body off and keep on going. Okay, so with the valve body off, you can get this thing up, and you kind of got to get it into this position. You got to kind of rotate it around till you can line up this little notch with the notch that's on the parking pawl shaft. See how that runs right there, and then this will come out. So this is what it all looks like. Basically that pawl goes on the top of this deal right here, and as you engage this, it pushes up on it and engages it in to its respective tooth, you know, to put it in park, basically. So I assume this works. Now, getting this back together, I'm gonna have to try this, but it's gonna be very difficult to see in there. Right there's your parking pawl, and we're gonna have to move that and re-slide this, because I'm gonna go ahead and basically try to reinstall this, you know, making dang sure I should be able to do it when it's in the car. This is gonna be kind of a lot harder to do than what I'm doing right now, but see if we can make it work. So I'll be back. Well, folks, I lost that battle. It's really difficult to get down in here, and I figured if it's really difficult with the transmission just sitting here, it's probably going to be twice as difficult while it's in the vehicle. Probably if someone who knew these all the time and knew exactly where how to line up the rod here, they'd probably be able to do it. But I lost. So basically I removed all the nuts on the back here on the on this tail shaft, and this is, now you can see your parking pawl right here. If I can get this to set down without falling over, this is what I was attempting to do. Move this so that the shaft can go in there. So you can see where that parking pawl right here, it's got this deal right here, and how it engages into these deals right here. That's what puts it in. So let me get this camera on a stand or whatever. I don't know if I can do this one-handed or not. Okay, this is really all it does. And yeah, it's probably possible to do this in there. I don't know, I couldn't do it. So it normally sits in here like this, and then when you engage it into park, see how that now drives that this way, and then you've got this deal is spring loaded, so that when this thing, if it does happen to catch it right here, it just pushes and spring loads it. And that's why your vehicle sometimes will roll just a few inches before this turns, click, and locks in place. That's how this works. So the way we can put this thing together, okay, hopefully I can get this in here. See this deal, you're lining up that slot there, so you're going to get this in here, you rotate this all the way around, kind of like so, okay, because this is ultimately how this needs to go, like this. Now this, see, this can't come out because you'd have to rotate it clear around this way to get that to line up. So you want that like that. So this is how this is going to go. I'm going to slide this down through. Okay, now coming out, I couldn't get it out without doing that, but anyways, and then we will line up. There's a kind of a, saw that kind of a slot deal like that. That's how this is going to line up. Okay, let's see how that's kind of working like that. Pushes that through. So what we can go ahead and do is get our nut, get it started on here. Right now I'm just snugging this up because this ain't going in this transmission. I gotta do this on the car out there. I'm just doing this because it's easier to film it. But move that back like that. Okay, it's all snugged up there like so. Okay, then what we're going to end up doing, sorry about that. Let's see if I can. Sorry about that, folks. So now what we're going to do is, as we go like this, I'm going to move this over here out of the way, you know, because it's spring loaded. It helps have this all the way out, as I just figured out. Okay, once that's in, just like that. Now we'll go ahead and install our bolts onto the tail shaft and test it and make sure it's going to work. But this is how this is going to do. So yeah, this is what I got to do while it's in the car. As you can see, I've got a 4x4 tail shaft, so that means the transfer case is all going to have to come off mounted there, and going to have to yeah, remove the transfer case and valve body, all the same stuff. Do this without, you know, a few steps less than actually pulling the transmission out, so it's not the end of the world, but that's what we got to do. But this is pretty much how all this is going to go, exactly in there. And what happened was when you go to turn this nut, this transmission was, you know, right side up. You know, this nut you're going to be turning counterclockwise, which is the exact direction you're going to turn here. This isn't strong enough to hold, and so it, you know, it hit the stopper, and then I was torquing the nut off, and then it just snapped right in here. Just a dumb mistake. You know, felt like crap about it, but again, it's my mistake, so it's just what it is, and I'm pointing it out here, so because I'm pretty sure this has probably happened to other people, and going through some options trying to be able to fix this so that you don't have to you know, pull and replace the transmission. But it looks like we're gonna have to do, at minimum, pull the transfer case off and get this tail shaft off, because that's a lot easier to get all this put back together, as I found out. But it is possible still, even with the right tool or whatever, to get in here and move that, and I still might try that while I'm in there. Maybe I'll get it that time when I didn't get it this time, but if not, then this is the exact procedure I'm going to have to go with, because right now basically you will put your valve body back on. This pin right here lines up with here, your manual control valve, so you want to make sure that that gets in there. But then it's just a matter of putting this back on and getting that pin lined up, and then once you get this all on and torqued down, you know, like this, to torque this down, you're gonna have to get a like a crow's foot or something like that. We'll have to figure that out, you know, because you want to make sure that stays on. Yeah, and then, you know, plug your deals back in and stick your pan back on, and away you go. So anyways, we'll keep on going. All right, folks, so after, on the other transmission, I've got it disassembled this far with the pan dropped and the valve body off of there. And so I am going to attempt to try to get this, that, I don't know what they call it, plunger rod, you know, that goes in there, how I showed you before, with the tail shaft off. I'm going to try to get it all lined up in here without having to remove all that stuff. It's just less stuff I have to take off. And so I'm not sure how this is going to show up in here. Let me get this set up again. Now that light's too bright to show you with the mirror, but I'm going to get this screwdriver in here, and we're going to hopefully move this. See, I'm moving it right now. And then you got to get it far enough down, and so before you even try to get the rod in there, get it in the position to where like the parking pawl would latch and go into its that little slot, any of those slots. So if it doesn't go down far enough, just rotate the drive shaft until it goes all the way, and then that hole will be completely open to be able to get the rod to go through. And once you get the rod to go through, then it's just a matter of reattaching it here. And I'm going to attempt to do this, but this is kind of how I'm going to do it. If anything changes, I will update it and keep going and let you know. I'm just not going to be able to film any of this because you're not going to be able to see anything. Really, it's even worse underneath the car with the transmission still in. I just wanted to give you an idea of kind of what I'm attempting to do. I just kind of heated this screwdriver up. It's a long, thin one. Just kind of heated it up because the angle was just wrong. But if I get this in here, then I'm able to get it kind of in there, and I'm also able to kind of twist it like this, and then hopefully get that rod in there. So anyways, I'll keep on going. All right, folks, it is indeed possible to reach up there exactly like I was trying to show you. It's sort of hard to film with that screwdriver. The hardest thing is just being able to see when you're underneath here with dark, like one time I had that pin light actually inside of there, and I had this thing actually lined up in there, but then I couldn't get the light out, and so I had to do it again. I had to do it twice. So yeah, just pry that thing over, get this thing in here, and then so now we've got it in park right now. Can't rotate the drive shaft. Move this thing out, do its full, like as if you were going to be in gear number 1 with the select. Now see, now we can turn the drive shaft, and then do this here. Got our little bit of a, now the detent would help you, that's going to be something that'll be added, we'll mount it back on, but other than that, I'd have to have 2 hands to lock this in. But take my word for it, it's working. And here are the other pieces. This is how this used to be before I broke it. Dumb mistake, but it happened. We're able to replace the if you don't have an extra transmission like I did, you'll have to buy this piece here. Nothing was really wrong with this. This is that spring-loaded thing I was talking about. It just kind of, that way when it pushes in, it clicks into the detent, even though, and then you'll have to just roll the car barely an inch, and that thing will, lock in place. But it is possible. It is possible to get this in here. Obviously you'd want to have your deal on the end of here, but getting this in here and going down in here with that screwdriver, prying, the direction it wants to go, it's, kind of in towards the transmission that way. Pry it that way. There's a, the hole that'll line up into, get it started in there. It'll go pretty much all the way. And then, especially if you got this thing far enough to where it goes into its little, the parking pawl goes in its little groove, it'll go in there, and then you'll go ahead and just finagle this around, move this around, you know, well, obviously this is loose, but move this around, get that slot lined up there and get it put together, and then go ahead and put your nut on, and go from there. So anyways, if you're having to replace this because of the same type of problem, or you know, obviously if you're having issues with your parking pawl to begin with, like if your car's not going into park or not staying into park on a, you know, fairly decent incline or something like that, you know, you're obviously going to have to take tail shaft off there to get that parking pawl out of there, and either replace it or whatever. But regardless, this can be done with the transmission still in the vehicle, just minus your tail shaft and whatever else. You know, if you got a two-wheel drive here, it could be a lot easier doing this. You'll have to support the transmission, obviously, if you take the tail shaft off, because here's your rear mount, so you'll have to support the transmission up somehow. But you know, this is a procedure to do it. Got to remove the valve body, and then you know, finagle and work on this. It didn't take me too long, even though I had to do it twice. It was about a half hour or something like that, finagling around in there to getting it, and I got it. So anyways, we're gonna get this thing put back together, and I'll go back to the other video that I was doing, was troubleshooting the neutral safety switch, and we're gonna continue on with that. It's a totally separate video. Would have been a lot simpler had I not have broken that piece in there, but it is what it is. So we'll keep on going.